And we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Anyway, just noticing how the liberals now are all in on Al Qaeda. What a ridiculous mind control that Americans are under. Now the liberals, right now the center left, they're wholeheartedly, they're like right there backing Al Qaeda. Like literally, Islamic terrorism is now liberal. That's what liberalism is. Today, it's December 2024, and to be liberal in December of 2024 means to support Al Qaeda. Means to support Al Qaeda terrorists chopping people's heads off. That's liberal now. That's what people call liberal. Sorry, I got a phone call. I'll be right with you. It's called business. I'm running a business here. Yeah. So anyway, the new liberalism is to support Islamic terrorists that run around cutting people's heads off. That's the new liberalism. That's called liberalism now. I can't believe it, but it's true. So this group called NAFO, it's like NATO, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So the CIA, Pentagon, NATO, they have a a group that's on Twitter, and this group that's on Twitter promotes the Ukrainian position, promotes war with Russia, and now they're supporting Al Qaeda. Imagine that. Imagine that. Hold on. Let me just. I just scheduled the job, which is good. Let me just put the time in here. Sorry, I didn't know this was going to happen right as I started my video. There we go. So anyway, so we've got Al Qaeda. We've got Al Qaeda now back in Syria, backed by Turkey, which is a NATO country. Turkey is part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Why? I don't know. If it were up to me, it wouldn't be. If it were up to me, there would be no country called Turkey, right? There's Turkmenistan in Central Asia, and that's where all the Turks would go. And the Christians would retake Anatolia. So there needs to be some kind of a program. And if Putin wants to do that, then I support that. So there's nothing more enjoyable right now than seeing the Russian Air Force annihilate Islamic terrorists, ISIS, Al Qaeda. And you think, Brian, how can you? Like, I feel like I can't even say that now on YouTube. Like, I'm talking about Al Qaeda and ISIS as being the bad guy. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are we on the wrong team here? Because this is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Let me tell you something. I can't even believe that this is where this is so disgusting. Trump isn't really talking about it, which hopefully means he doesn't support it. But where we're at as Europeans, okay? Let's just talk about ourselves as Europeans. Where are we at as Europeans? We are at importing Islamic terrorists into the country. Okay, you got to understand something. The Al Qaeda that's being used to attack Syria is based in Europe. It's a bunch of people that were brought in by the European Union, by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. To either bring them into England. I can't even believe this is happening. This is why I'm just telling you, look, now it's liberal to support Al Qaeda. Okay, that's where we're at. It's liberal to support Al Qaeda. And Jews in Israel, the Israeli government supports Al Qaeda. That's where we're at. Like, they literally are fighting alongside Al Qaeda. That's where we're at. That's why this whole thing is so stupid. That's why this whole thing is so stupid. That's why we need our own stuff, man. I just can't believe this is the situation we're in. So anyway, that's where we're at. That is where we're at. That is where we're at. That's where we're at. That's where we found ourselves. So I'm on Twitter, right? And you've got these NAFO. Let's just put in NAFO and see what comes up on Twitter. NAFO fellas. What are they tweeting about? They're definitely anti-Russian, and then they're also anti-Assad now, and they're pro-Georgia, of course. Right, Georgia has a woman president that just lost, and now she's saying that the elections are all fake because she lost, and because the people that wanted her to lose support Russia. Now, ask me, why would I support a woman in charge of a Christian country, a Christian government like Georgia? Georgia is a Christian, Orthodox Christian government in the Caucasus region. That's what we need, right? So if they become part of the European Union, what does that mean? That means they're not going to be Christian anymore. That means they're going to become LGBT, BLM, Al Qaeda, and whatever the Jesuit thing is. So I don't want that. I don't want that. That's why I'm saying there's no upside to supporting this thing called the European Union, because the European Union is anti-white, for one thing. It's called the European Union, and then it's anti-European people. It's like literally opposed to the European race. So that's a problem. Why would I support that? That's stupid. That's like if there was a Chinese union and the people that ran it hated Chinese people, and they put Chinese women and Al Qaeda terrorists in charge of everything. That's how stupid Western civilization is at this point. It's that stupid. It is that idiotic. So anyway, you've got these NAFO people, and they support the European Union, which is not European and is anti-Christ and is anti-European race. It's against the European race. They support Ukraine, which is run by what I guess what you would call, I mean, Zelensky's Jewish. I would call them the Khazars, the Khazarian race, who all adopted Judaism. So maybe they're Jewish or Yiddish or whatever they are. I don't know. It's not my religion. Why would I support that? That's dumb too. So yeah, that's idiotic. There's nothing to support. That's why the only thing to support right now is the Russian Air Force. That's bombing Al Qaeda. That's terrorizing Al Qaeda. That's the only good thing that's happening right now. The only good thing that's happening is that Russian aircraft are bombing Islamic terror cells, like death squads. They've got these Islamic death squads running around, chopping people's heads off. I've seen the footage, right? They're coming out of Turkey and they're attacking people that are unarmed civilians. They're attacking them. I've watched this happen with my own eyes, okay, on video. The Islamic terrorists coming out of Turkey, which is a NATO country, are going into villages, and if you're a man and you're there, then they assume that you're the enemy. So they have you arrested and they put you in a line and they haul you off. You're basically taken prisoner. All the men are taken prisoner. The women, I'm watching these Al Qaeda terrorists backed by NATO, the European Union and NATO and the US, which is Antony Blinken. I'm watching these Islamic terrorists backed by the Jewish Ukrainian Antony Blinken in Washington, D.C., watching these Islamic terrorists smacking women that are unarmed and that are just trying to follow their directions because they're scared. And they're being hit. They're being attacked. They're being brutalized. That's who runs Washington, D.C. That's who runs Ukraine. That's who runs CIA. That's who the Pope supports. That's who the European Union supports. They're not European. None of this is European. None of this is Christian. It's disgusting. So the only good things that are happening right now is, frankly, the Iranians are sending help to the Syrians. You know who they're helping by doing that? They're helping Christians that live in those areas, because Christians live in Aleppo. And that's where that's where the Al Qaeda are coming in and killing people, in Aleppo. So literally right now, Christians in the Middle East are being saved by Iran. And Trump hates Iran because Trump is allied with the Jews. This Donald Trump, who I just voted for, is allied with the Jews, who are using Al Qaeda along with the European Union and NATO to kill people in the Middle East for Islamic terrorism. That's where we are at. And the good guys right now are the Iranians and the Iraqis that are sending help to Syria, to Bashar al-Assad. What do you want me to say? I'm Christian. I believe Jesus Christ is the light. What do you want me to do? How can I can't support you killing all these people for your little Islamic caliphate. I don't support that. Now, I know that Assad is Muslim, but he protects the Christians in the Middle East. So he's the good guy. And you support Al Qaeda, so you're the bad guy. And you're the same people that are starting this war against Russia and Ukraine. So you're not the good guy. You're the wrong person. You are the bad people. Can't believe this is even the condition of Europe. This is what we have. These are our allies. So idiotic. So idiotic. Oh, and Chinese Uyghurs. So the Al Qaeda terrorists that are flooding into Syria and just going around attacking people and arresting all the men. They're Chinese, they're Pakistani, they're from Arab countries, they're from Turkey, they're from England. They're like all this garbage that came into England, that was brought into England. All this Islamic terrorist Al Qaeda garbage that was brought into England is now part of this whole thing. But they're still in England. They're still in France. That's what I'm saying. That's who they imported into our countries. They imported the Al Qaeda in. England is now, London is an Al Qaeda base. London is an Islamic terror base. They are trying to turn Ireland into an Islamic terror base. They've turned parts of the U.S. into an Islamic terror base. They're all based in U.S. They're based in Ireland. Right, and they're attacking our people. They're attacking the American people. They're attacking the English people. They're attacking the Irish people. And they're using our tax dollars to set up Islamic terror training camps. The U.S. government is. The British government is. The Irish government is. The European Union is. That's what they're doing. This is so idiotic. Who runs all this? People like George Soros. People like the Rothschilds. People like the Pope. That's who's doing it. People like Klaus Schwab and his whole network. The Klaus Schwab network. The Klaus Schwab, Soros network. Whoever they are, I don't know. I don't know all the names of these people, but they have a network, and this is their program. And it's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is shit. It's garbage. It is garbage. And that's what's happening. That is what's going on. And then let's see. So we've got what? I guess that's it. See, here's an example. BBC News. London's 850-year-old food markets to close, right? Smithfield is the largest wholesale meat market in the UK, 850 years old. They're closing. What are they being replaced with? Halal. They're being replaced with Islamic terrorists. That's been the program the whole time, ever since September 11th. The US government, the British government, the European Union has all been about Islamic terrorists coming in and just replacing everyone, bringing people in from Muslim countries. That's the whole thing. That's what they've done. Now, who are they? Well, you read who Kalergi says they are. Kalergi said that the European Union would be ruled by a Jewish kind of like ruling class over a mixed race Europe. That was the whole plan, to bring people from Africa and Asia and Middle East countries and then have them all ruled over by the Jewish intellectual Superman. That's what they're setting up. I'm not the one that made this up. I'm just saying this is what they're saying they're doing. Because I mean, Kalergi said that's what they were going to do, and that seems to be what they're doing. I don't know. I'm not the one that invented this. Don't be mad at me for just saying what's happening. That's what's happening. Has to be reversed. All I'm saying is we cannot tolerate this anymore. And I guess the way to not tolerate, part of it was, having elections. Okay, we'll have an election. We'll vote people in. We'll vote people out. Okay. But there has to be, beyond just elections and waiting around to vote. Beyond that has to be in your mind every day that you no longer support this whole system that they've got, and that you are only doing business with your kindred people. So we need to get back to our kindred people, and we only deal with our kindred people, and we only associate with our kindred people. And all these strangers who are here to kill us are not our friends, and we do not give them quarter. We do not give them refuge, because they're here to kill us. That is the whole program. That's the whole program. So either you want to survive or you don't. I do. I want to survive. Doesn't mean you have to be mean to people. Doesn't mean you have to hurt anybody. It means that you have to recognize the situation that you're in, and then you literally just deal with your kindred people because you care about them and you put them first. You put your kindred people first. That's what we have to do. We have to put our kindred people above everything. That's it. Because our people are suffering under this regime of whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want, whatever you want to call it. Our people are suffering as a result. And we shouldn't tolerate it. Why should we? We're not being replaced with something better. Like their cultures aren't better than ours. Ours is better. Ours is beautiful. Ours was the best. Ours is absolutely the best. There's nothing better. There is no upgrade. There is nothing better. Right? So there's no way to improve upon what we have because we are the best. And so we need to deal with our kindred people. And that's it, man. And yes, and we should have good relations with the other people and help them. But there's no upgrade to our kindred people. We are the best. We're the best people. We have the best culture. We have the most generous culture, the most just everything about our culture was so much better than everything else. And we've thrown it all in the trash for Islamic terror death squads. Stupid. Right. They replaced London with Islamic terror death squads. That's what rules London now. That's what they're sending over to Assyria to attack Assad. I stand with Assad because Assad is a good man. They have Christmas in Syria. They have Christmas in Syria. Assad is more like a European than a lot of people that live in America and Europe. He's way more like a European. I consider Bashar al-Assad European. So, I mean, he's Syrian, but he is very European. He's got blue eyes. That's pretty European. I have brown eyes. So I'm just saying, I consider Assad kindred enough where I would prefer him over anybody else that I'm seeing in politics. I like him better in some ways than Donald Trump. I think he's smarter than Donald. I think he's more loyal to his people than Donald Trump. Actually, Donald Trump's obsessed with Jews for some reason. I have no idea why. I guess maybe because his wife was Jews and then his children are Jews, and so he's all about the state of Israel and Judaism. Okay, I like Donald Trump. I like Ivanka. I like Eric and Don Jr. and I guess his new wife is not. She's like Slavic and Orthodox Christian. Whatever. They're all nice. I like Eric. I like Ivanka. He's got nice grandkids. They're all great. It's just whatever. I'm just saying. I like Assad. He's a good guy. I like Vladimir Putin. Why wouldn't I like him? There's nothing wrong with Vladimir Putin. You know who there's something wrong with? Anthony Blinken. Something wrong with him. You know what else there's something wrong with? Zelensky. You know who else there's something wrong with? Noodleman. You know who else there's something wrong with? Mayorkas, who runs DHS and hopefully will be thrown in prison for human trafficking. Like, that's the problem. Those people are the problem. They're the problem. Putin's not the problem. Let's have an alliance with Putin. Here we have people, European people, like Russia's kind of like a mix of white, Germanic, European Christian race and Eastern people. So it's got a mix. It's got a lot of ethnicities in there. But ultimately, they like Russia's part Europe. It's like Russia really there are kindred people are also in Russia. So it's Russia, it's Europe, and when you go way into the east of Russia, like where North Korea is, there's Vladivostok. Is that what it's called? There's a city there. It's very European. I mean, it's like more European than Los Angeles is. It's more European than San Diego is. It's more European than Irvine is. That's for sure. Way more European. Like, I would feel more at home there than I would in parts of Southern California. Factually, I would feel more at home. Of course, I don't speak the language, which would make it tough, but I don't speak the language in a lot of places I go to here either. But at least racially, I would be the same as those people or similar. And it's not just Mexicans. There's people from all over the world. People from India around here, Pakistan, China, Korea, Vietnam. They don't speak a word of English. So I'm just saying, they're all nice people. They're good people. Good for them. But guess what? I'm just saying, you go to a place in Eastern Russia, like Vladivostok or whatever it's called, and it's like a bunch of white people there going to church in a Christian Orthodox church. That is like normal for me, right? That's like, I'm just saying, this is normal living. Being around a bunch of foreign people that are like from, whether it's China or Central America or India or Pakistan or some Middle East, that's not normal for me. I don't feel like I'm at home in that environment. I don't feel like this is normal, right? I'm just saying it would feel more normal to be surrounded by a bunch of white people in the far east of Russia going to a Christian church with icons of Jesus Christ. That would be more normal for me as a Christian European person. Like, my heritage is from France and parts of Germany, and I've got family also Irish. I mean, I probably look more French than anything, but on my father's side, it's French and Irish. My mother's side, it's German and Dutch, like Pennsylvania Dutch, they call it. I'm just saying I would feel more normal walking around in Vladivostok and walking into church and seeing icons of Christ on the walls. That would be more normal for me than walking around parts of Los Angeles. Way more normal than walking around, let's say, East Los Angeles, South Los Angeles, even West Los Angeles sucks. I mean, it's just all shit. And then you go to Beverly Hills, and it's still shit. I mean, Los Angeles is like Los Angeles is shit, man. Los Angeles is actually pretty lame. Malibu's cool, but even then, it's still not home. It doesn't feel like home. There's parts of Orange County that feel like home. Dana Point feels like home. San Clemente feels like home. You know, when I go to Dana Point, I feel like I'm at home. When I go to San Clemente, I feel like I'm at home. So there are parts of Los Angeles that do feel that way, in Orange County. But I'm just saying, I could walk around in Vladivostok in eastern Russia, next to Korea and Japan, and feel probably right at home more than I would if I was walking around. You get off the freeway in some parts of Los Angeles, and you know that you're in danger. Okay, look, you get off the freeway it could be like the 10 freeway or the 110 freeway in parts of LA, near the 91, that area. There are certain areas that I've been up there where you don't even have to see any people. Just once you get off the freeway, you have a feeling, just exiting the freeway without even seeing anyone, what they look like. You just know, there's like a feeling in the area, where you feel like your life is in danger. Your life is in danger. And I know I used to when I was a kid, I had a job when I was in my 20s where I would drive around Los Angeles. And I drove all over Los Angeles. I'm just saying, there's parts of LA that you can be in day or night. Could be the middle of the day. Could be the middle of the day. And you get there and there is a sinking feeling that your life is in danger. And if people start killing you, nobody's going to come help you. Like literally, it's kind of like, imagine getting off of imagine flying to Liberia. Okay. Imagine flying to Liberia and you get off the airplane and you're just like, now you got to get a taxi around town. You'll have that feeling that people are going to kill you. And like people look at you and go, what are you doing here? We're going to kill you. Why are they going to kill you? Because you're there. That's it. That's all. Like literally, that's how it feels in parts of Los Angeles. That's how it feels to walk around as a white person in parts of Los Angeles. That's how it feels. That's a fact. That's a fact. The people and then you look at all the propaganda that's on the TV, and that's all they talk about is how evil white people are. They make it even more dangerous for you. They make it like the media makes it even more dangerous. It's kind of like South Africa. Imagine you get off the plane in Rhodesia. And it's like, well, we just killed a bunch of farmers this morning because they were white, and now here you are. That's just a reality. That's how things are. I'm just saying, I would feel more comfortable being in Vladivostok with a bunch of Russians who I don't speak Russian, and walking around inside of a Russian Orthodox church than I would in parts of Los Angeles, parts of Oakland. I've been to Oakland. I spent the weekend in Oakland one time because I had a girlfriend that was going to Berkeley. And Oakland some parts were nice. We went to a nice restaurant on the bay there. It was pretty cool. But, it's just like parts of Oakland. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What am I doing here? My people founded this whole country. What do you mean, what am I doing here? We founded the country, and now we're not even welcome in it. Now, if we walk around in it, we get threatened with death. That's the situation. right? And so you think I'm going to support your Al Qaeda forces over in Syria? No, I'd rather I'd rather support Bashar al-Assad. He's more like me. He's more civilized than the people that NATO are supporting, the people that the European Union are supporting, the people the European Union are importing to kill off us. I'd rather support Bashar al-Assad. I like to see the Russian Air Force annihilating columns of ISIS terrorists, Al Qaeda terrorists being obliterated by the Russian Air Force. That makes me happy. I love that. I love to see that. I want to see more of that. I can't get enough of that. So, that's where I am. Syrian girl, I follow her on Twitter. I'd rather, Syrian girls to me is more civilized, normal than these NAFO people. I'd rather have her alive than the NAFO people if I had to choose. She says here the Syrian army heading to Idlib. May God be with them. No kidding. Look at this. Can you imagine the situation these people are in? They get invaded by these Islamic terrorists from all, and these Islamic terrorists, they're Uyghurs from China, Chinese Uyghurs. Kept hearing about the Uyghurs. Turns out they're a bunch of Islamic terrorists, Al Qaeda. So they're from China, they're from Pakistan. They've been trained up over in Britain or some other NATO country, and they've been brought over to Turkey to invade. Now imagine you're you live in the country. You're being invaded by this foreign group that's backed by the Pentagon, and they're just coming in on death squads, killing everybody. Now you got to go out there and fight them. That's the situation these people are in Syria, right? That's the situation they're in. That is a horrible situation to put people in. It's disgusting. I don't support it. I don't support it. I support the annihilation of Islamic terrorists like ISIS and Al Qaeda. That's what I support. So anyone doing that is good. And who's fighting them? Russia's fighting them. Iran's fighting them. The Syrian people are fighting against this satanic Islamic terror death squads. So they're the good guys. Who's supporting the Islamic death squads? Israel, Turkey, NATO, Antony Blinken. Disgraceful. Total disgrace. Total disgrace. Total disgrace. So anyway, I guess I don't have anything else to say other than I support the complete annihilation of death squads. Anyone who's going to start a death squad to go around cutting people's heads off, I support any army, any resistance. Like we've got the Russian military, the Iranians. I don't care who they are. Anyone supporting that is evil. That is an evil thing to do. So I proudly support Assad, Vladimir Putin, the Iranians, because they're fighting Al Qaeda. And Al Qaeda is evil. Al Qaeda is running around. All the men in the villages get rounded up just because you're a man. You got to understand, I'm a man, right? So let's say they invaded where I live. All the men would just be rounded up, civilians, because you're a man, and they just assume that you're the enemy. And then they take you out and they arrest you and they put you in they tie your hands up and they beat you on the fucking head. You didn't have a gun or anything. That's why you couldn't defend yourself. That's the situation these people are in Syria. And who's directing it? It's Antony Blinken at the Pentagon and and Erdogan, and they're working with Netanyahu and Israel and the British government. So it's sickening. And what I'm saying is, we need to have our own stuff. we, the white Christian European people of the world, we need to not be tied to this thing, this ugly, sick, perverted, evil thing. Whatever it is, whatever it is, it needs to be dissolved. And then we need to be the ones ruling our own destinies. Have a good one.